which Souls game is the best, everyone has a different answer. A lot of people would say 3, many would say Elden Ring, some like me would say Dark Souls 1, and even fewer would say Dark Souls 2. I like Dark Souls 2, but let's see what Steak and Eggs clips have to say. This looks like a podcast episode, a clip. We have multiple videos for you today, and this one is simply a clip from a podcast. So I'm curious, what is the best Souls game? I like them all. That's a lie. No, I don't. I don't like them all. But let's see.
I actually didn't watch the trailer. I don't know why.
Wait, is that
The
Aspen?
idea of doing a trailer for a
Oh,
stream.
that's Aspen right
fucking
there.
fun.
Yeah, it's Aspen right there. I didn't even notice. That's literally just Aspen.
But yeah, no, I have not played Bloodborne. I want to play Everybody tells me I would love it. I played the beginning of it on a PS4, and the 30 FPS made me want to just stick
Well,
my
what
head
do
in
you
the meat
think
grinder.
about it, Emmy, since you played it again recently? Like, you're playing it again.
30 FPS ain't that bad.
So I do like the combat. I do like the world. FPS sucks,
She hates it,
obviously.
guys.
No point to. I mean, everyone says that though. And
My
Have you played on
goodness.
I
PS4
feel-
or PS5 lately?
I'm on PS5.
Man, like, I get it. FPS is not ideal for some games that are a bit older. They're kind of stuck at 30. I was playing for years I played Halo Reach at 30 FPS because that's what it was on. And then when it was backwards compatible, they didn't upscale it or anything. It still ran at 30. And then we got it on the Master Chief Collection, but it ran at 60, but I didn't really care. I mean, cool, it runs at 60 now. I like that. Thank you. That's a good thing to run at 60. Good target FPS if you're going to bring a game back. But it didn't make the game better by default. It didn't go from unplayable to playable. The fact that Halo Reach is playable at 30 FPS, I know Bloodborne's playable. Like, I'm pretty sure these people are just, like, being those guys, right? Oh, I can't play anything at 30 FPS. Granted, there is a difference between consistent 30 and an actual 30. Quote unquote 30, I guess. Some companies will aim for 30. They'll advertise that they're aiming for 30 or aiming for 60. But when in reality, it's not running that the whole time. So, might as well start the video here.
It's best to play the games in order of how they were made.
Absolutely.
Because if you don't, you're going to go back
Yeah,
and...
I wonder why he picked Bloodborne instead of Souls 1 or Sekiro.
Yeah, that's actually super interesting.
I
don't
think
know.
people probably told them to pick Blood.
I think Sekiro is the only one that you can start without playing any of the other games because it's so different. It's so drastically different. I'm not sure about Bloodborne, but from what I've seen, it retains enough of the Souls formula to where it's basically another Souls game. So I think that's my take on that. You really should play them in order though because they're just so different. Elden Ring is nothing like Dark Souls 1, nothing like Dark Souls 2. Almost nothing like Dark Souls 3. It's 10 times better than 3.
Bloodborne, because Bloodborne has such a
Why?
dedicated community.
It's
And
like
the people
the
really
like it a
it's like the
lot.
Undertale people.
Yeah,
Like,
in a way.
Undertale
it's like
people.
smaller game, really big fandom.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
know
feel
about-
like he should have
Or private server going
either
on for
done
years.
Souls 1 and then just gone through everything, or done Sekiro.
I can't wait to
Probably
watch him
should've.
play Dark Souls 2. Holy shit, that's going to be bad.
Maybe he'll
Yeah.
skip it. I don't
Yeah,
know.
be smart.
I still, dude.
I'm sure he's not calling the game
Man,
bad.
Elden Ring was so damn good. It's hard for me to say, but there's something about Dark Souls 1 that I just adore.
It's
Yes.
the, it's the
Design.
game. It's the
Amen.
game, man. Like that's
Preach
that's
it.
what it
Dark
is
Souls 1, baby.
Dark Souls 1
Oops.
is a Super Nintendo game disguised as a game from 2011.
That's kind of how it is.
It's like that's what
What
it's,
in the
it's the
world?
quintessential fuck.
I have never heard anyone describe Dark Souls 1. It's a Super Nintendo game disguised as a game from 2011. I have never heard anyone describe Dark Souls 1 that way. It's not the most accurate thing, I don't think, but I see what he's saying. It's simple. It's not simple in like execution. It's very simple in like what it wants. It is a vision that knows what it wants and it does it. Super Nintendo games were very simple in execution, whereas Dark Souls 1 is really complicated in theory. When like you start talking about the world and how respawning works, losing your souls, but then you actually execute and it's like, oh, okay, so you've just gotta pick a playstyle and persevere and get better and better and eventually conquer the flame, right? Well, conquer it. However you want to interpret the endings.
Fucking video game.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
Dark Souls 1 is so damn good. Now, I think Elden Ring is kind of like the ultimate version of everything that has been learned from Dark Souls 1, 2, 3, so on, all the Souls games.
I would
that
agree.
Miyazaki quote that's like, Elden Ring is like almost what I had in mind.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Pretty
exactly.
much.
We
Yeah.
did, you're right.
Yeah,
Almost
Elden
my
Ring,
perfect
so
RPG.
How do you feel about creating the best game ever? He's like, well, it wasn't. I mean, we could do better, but yeah.
And I mean, he's probably right.
Yeah.
But like, it's
Okay.
great because I remember.
They get
in
that
Dark
quote
Souls
better than
1,
Ackman
like, the
did.
dual wielding wasn't really good, right? Like if you wanted
yeah.
a dual wield build,
Couldn't
Faith
really do it.
Faith builds weren't really that great.
They were dog shit.
Yeah, even Dark Souls. Remember, more so than in Dark Souls 1 and 3, the actual process of I love to like customize and build and numbers, and I love that with
Oh,
every
for
game.
sure. It's the best for that
To
one.
me, that's like the core of what an RPG is, and
Fair.
I
Fair.
got that more in Elden Ring than any other Souls game by
Yeah.
far.
That's understandable.
Like I mean,
I
I felt
agree.
like I was like, I want to play Paladin. I'm gonna make what my image of like a Paladin is in my head. I'm gonna make that in Elden Ring, and I could do that. And
could?
I had some heals. I had some. Yeah, I was like I had like 50 points in faith, and
Right.
you know it was cool, right?
And yet he still says it wasn't a good build.
Very fun. Parry build. I would parry all the time,
Oh yeah, those are pretty fun.
which was like not really like the best way to play. I mean, I think going like two-handed and dodging things or dual wielding and dodging things is probably better,
Yeah.
at least in the base game.
Yeah, ultimately.
But I just like using a shield. I like parrying because it's like a cool feeling. Like it's the tactility. It's the
It was
sound.
the you had that like that faith parry or whatever it was, right? Was that you? I don't remember.
I played with I played with all three.
Yeah, yeah.
Normal parry, and then I did faith, and then I did the magic parry.
Okay, so that was that whole clip of that podcast. So basically, the title did not at all reflect what they were actually doing. Okay, lovely. But that's kind of a YouTube titles for you. I'm doing that consistently. So there is another video I want to check out real quick because this one was not nearly long enough. And I've also got to cut a lot. So okay, this is made by Zuli the Witch, and the picture kind of looks like that one witch from Dark Souls 1 that helps you with the Four Kings and the Moonlight Butterfly. So, this video is called How Elden Ring Struggles with Its Map. I am curious about that. Now, this channel uploads really short things. I have never watched a video from this channel before, ever. But they upload a lot of short, very short videos. 3 minutes, average. So, I'm curious what they have to say about Elden Ring struggling with its map. Let's take a look at that real quick. An often praised aspect of the Souls series is its world design, with games after Demon Souls focusing on interconnectivity. Not all games after. For the most part, the map of each game is a cohesive whole, traversable without loading screens, bearing a few select areas. In many cases, areas further into the game are foreshadowed beforehand, with parts of them visible from an earlier place. True. However, this is often something of an illusion, with mock-ups being used that don't truly make the area's actual location. Don't truly match that area's location. Yeah, because it's in the distance and, you know, it's not one-to-one, right? That's kind of obvious. This is loud. This trick helps to make the world feel much larger than it is, but it can sometimes feel jarring if the difference is too severe. Majula the Hut. Oh, is that what... Oh. Oh yeah, in Dark Souls 2 it was pretty unbelievable, because usually a lot of places were just short jogs away in comparison to what they looked like. Understandable, yeah. Dark Souls 2 is probably the extreme example of that. The player's bloodstain can reveal the discrepancy as its position may not match the placement of the mock-up. For Elden Ring, this type of exaggeration is surprisingly much harder to do with its open world adding new complications. True. In order to display the entire lands between at once, most of the players seeing naturally isn't actual level geometry. Yeah, like this is all like just background here. Instead, the scenery is broken up into multiple stages, starting with a giant low-detail map known as the Super Overworld. Interesting. Depending on what regions the player is near, portions of the Super Overworld are replaced by their own scenery instead. Huh. And then active full detail area is broken up into a grid surrounding whichever actual square the player is currently in. I see. That makes sense. As such, scenery in the player's immediate area has to closely match in every stage, or the switch would risk being obvious. Yeah. So this kind of reminds me of the video from the Horizon Zero Dawn sort of overview, where a player is looking around. So as a player looks around, all the environment is generated based on where they're looking. I understand how that would help graphic load. If I'm not mistaken, I think that would be quite intense on processing power. I don't know that though. I don't know that for a fact. And you also need a fast graphics card. I'm not going to pretend to be a computer wizard, but I keep like thinking like that sounds like it would save on one thing and then buff up another aspect of the PC. So that kind of reminds me of this, where in a sense Instead of where you're looking, it's just where you're placed on the map, and then it'll generate around you, which would explain, like, when you're traversing, you might see a frame dip because things are loading in, right? So that's pretty interesting. I'm sure a lot of games probably do something similar. I wouldn't be surprised. But also, even distant scenery has to be more accurate on the super overworld than in previous games for a few reasons. How'd you get this footage? That's what I want to know. One is, of course, Elden Ring's actual in-game map, which has various landmarks as well as pins the players can place on it. For these markers to stay accurate across distances on the compass, the map at Super Overworld can't vary much. Additionally, the Earth Tree itself would pose a significant issue given that it's a constant reference point visible at all times. Yeah, but you can't really, like, go to it in the same sense. As such, there's surprisingly little discrepancy even comparing areas as far as Castle Morn and the Forge of the Giants. The same is true for the DLC map as well, and there's a few type of reference for it thanks to the furnace columns. As these smoldering colossi are almost always being rendered, it's even easier to see continuity of the map around them. As FromSoftware's first large-scale open world, Elden Ring posed many new challenges, and this is just one example. Pretty good ways of getting around it, not gonna lie. While its effects may be subtle, having to restructure how even just the scenery works likely took some considerable effort. Oh, absolutely. They'd never done really an open world before. Coolio. That's just a fun fact. I like how I mentioned Horizon Zero Dawn. It's literally someone streaming it on the side over here. I swear, bro, YouTube just knows you. Okay. That's pretty interesting. I think, might have time for one more. Is there a shorter video that the same creator has made? Okay, so let's go to Dark Souls 2 for a second. Let's go to Dark Souls 2. Okay, they're going to talk about the most hated map in the entire series. That's the title of the video. Naturally, the frigid outskirts. Some areas might be more annoying. I will say the frigid outskirts are at least blatant. Like, there's some areas that pretend like they're not annoying, and then they're actually really annoying in execution. And then you've got the frigid outskirts, which is so annoying that I can't even really get mad at it, to be honest. I do the side quest for the headless guy, and then I summon like 3 NPCs just to help me destroy the deer, right? And I'll even go as far as despawning some of them. Like, I really will. I will go that far. I don't care. I'll do it. Anyways, the frigid outskirts are obscured by a recurring blizzard, so a common request has been to show the area without it. Oh, I'd love to see the area without it. I love the consistency on the player character. I mean, it wouldn't be that interesting. Here's an aerial view that works as a map of the area. Starting area, summon. Yeah, it's pretty linear, all things considered. It just looks big. The summoning circle allows you to summon even players who didn't own the DLC. Wait, so how'd they put the summon there? Wait. I've never had to do that before. Wait, how would players get summoned if they didn't own the did they just password summon, like, directly from the menu? No, you don't have password summoning yet. That was the Dark Souls 3 thing. Wait, so, okay? I mean, the area's cool without the blizzard. You can even hear the deer spawning, though. Did you turn the enemies off? Nope. The character, one of the reasons the area is so despised is they respawn the cover of the blizzard. Yes. That's an ugly boy. I mean, cool in design, I suppose. They look like a Seath experiment. Were they experimented on by Seath? I'm curious. I like how even with the AI turned off, it was still programmed to do the charge. That just makes this area even more annoying. What are you doing? Hey, my boy's just chilling. Leave my boy alone. He's just chilling, bro. My boy's just chilling. Hiding in the rooms provides safety from the Kira. The others have items, but this one has a healing pool. I'll be honest, I did not know those things were healing pools. I'm kind of dumb, not gonna lie. But there's another one. It's kind of cool to see the fact that they just spawn out of nowhere. This knight normally wears the From helm, but taking it off reveals the face of Salden. I'm not sure about that. How did she do this is the next question. I don't actually know if the person behind the character is a she, so... I mean, yeah, why would you add more player models and inflate the size of your game for no reason if they're always wearing a helmet? I was one of those annoying nerds. I'm actually kind of glad the area is pretty barren, because if it was, that would feel like you'd have to explore it. It's pretty interesting to see the area without the blizzard. I don't think it makes much of a difference. Oh well, it was cool. It's like a speed mod. I had that for Dark Souls 1, the Dark Souls Remastered gadget. Very fun. Until my computer broke, and I had to reinstall everything. Oh. Nothing. I mean, why would there be something down there? There's usually a blizzard in your face. I guess there's an equivalent to Dark Souls Remastered guide that she's using, because it also allowed you to turn off gravity, make yourself invincible. Crazy how ugly some of these textures look, just without the blizzard. Oof, that's one ugly boy. That's an ugly boy. That boy ugly. Okay, why couldn't they even bother moving the model onto the actual snow? Come on, FromSoft. The only way to leave the frigid outskirts through a warp point. That appears here. Unless you use a homeward bone, I suppose. Alright, those were a couple of videos for you today. Some really interesting takes from that podcast, as well as a couple of interesting factoid videos. I really like those videos. I subscribe to Zuli the Witch. Very interesting content. I'm going to check more of that out in the future. Even though I could probably do a lot of this myself, but who cares. So, cool stuff. If you like the video, subscribe. And, leave a like. And don't you dare go hollow.